So hello and welcome to the next generation Scania. How long have we been waiting for this in Eurotruck? I'm so excited to show you all the features, all the configuration of this truck. So let's get started by taking a look at all of the options. So as you can see, we're in Milan, the Scania dealer in Milan, and you'll see the next gen when you go over to the third slot here. So here we've got the Scania S370 with the sort of normal cabin. It is still a sleeper, if you wondered, but it's just not the higher cabin. So if we go into customize, one thing that I am going to say is I don't have the Scania customization DLC, I believe it's called, or something. So there are a few options that you can further configure. But yeah, as I said, I don't have it. So with the cabins, you've got the normal and the high roof. It's a difference of, let me think, come on, brain work, just under 20 grand. So yeah, if you're taking more box trailers, obviously you'd want that for a more realistic sort of fitment. But if you're not, the normal is completely fine. Then onto the chassis, there's loads to choose from here. You mean all the way from a 4x2, some 6x2s in there. Like you can have a long, see a long version here with the larger tanks, or slightly shorter one. I mean, just look at the detail down on all the tanks and chassis. All the sort of wiring, and it is amazing, the detail. Some of it you can't even see. And then you just go and cover it up with a sort of guard over here, which is a bit of a shame, but it does look good. But yeah, as you can see, loads of different options with different drive wheels. Onto the engines, you've got quite a few 13-litre engines with the 6-cylinder, or you've also got the V8 if that's what you're into. Now, I have just been driving a 6-cylinder, which is what you just saw in the intro. I'm going to go through all the different types of engines in this version of Test Drive Thursday. It's going to be a bit of a special, a bit different to usual, as I want to have a really in-depth review of this truck. But yeah, 730 engine with the V8 down to a 370. All of them are Euro 6 engines, so super efficient, but I'm really impressed by the 13 litres. Onto the transmissions, I was driving, I believe it's this one in the time-lapse, and to be honest, it's a letdown of the truck. If you go for this transmission, these two transmissions, it completely changes it. It's almost like the transmission knows what gear you want before you even got it. I mean, it's really, really impressive. I'll get into that later, but that is a must. I know it's only a 6-speed, but it completely transforms the truck. Now onto the interior. As you can see, when you go for the standard light or dark, as you can see, I mean, it does change the seat. From here, you got this sort of green with the pattern, which I don't really like. So I'd probably go for this sort of greyish brown and this pattern here, because as I said, I don't like the green. Unless you were going for a green truck, then I'd get it, but yeah, I just think that sums it up a little bit better. But on the standard, you get this more standard infotainment system that doesn't actually show a doesn't actually show a sat nav in the game. It's just this blank screen. So if you want a sat nav, you have to go up to the exclusive, which is an extra $4 grand. Then you get this better infotainment system. But yeah, as you can see, two different versions of the standard, and you also get a different style up here. So as you can see, these are more of the older style sort of speedo and rev counter. You also get a smaller screen here, but when you go up to the exclusive, you get this much more modern display with this huge screen up here, and then screens in here as well, which display all kinds of information like your speed. So as you can see, it is quite a good upgrade for $4 grand, I'd say. And you also get different styles down here. Let's see if I can show you. You get different seats, a lot more premium leather. Nice stitching as well. Sort of a brown on there. I'm not sure if I like that too much. But yeah, just down to the detail of all the reflectors down here. The curtains with their little buckle on. All of these sort of driving aids up there. Even down to the sticker. It's really rather impressive. It gives you a good sense of scale in here. I mean, it looks very tall. Let's carry on. And you've got the exclusive light. You got the wood, which gives this wood sort of trim along here. It's basically the exclusive light with without the metal trim. You also get slightly lighter brown seats. But if you want more hardcore version, you can go for the V8, which yeah, I do wish that they made this down here black with the V8, but I'm sure some mod authors are going to do that. You get this V8 logo down here, all the red stitching, the red around the bottom here, which looks very nice, all the red sort of paneling with the black, looks like black aluminium, the sort of, I don't know what you would call that, patterning on the seats, very sporty down here as well. Because it's a little bit darker up here, as you can see, that grey, even red stitching on there. But yeah, very, very nice. You can also get it in right-hand drive as well. So if you're in the UK doing a lot of trucking over there, perfect for you. But yeah, very, very impressive. I'll also show you the steering wheels whilst we're here on the interior. So as you can see with the standard, it's a very round design. You got the colour logo in here. But yeah, there's not much going on with it. It is very nice, I have to say, but nothing out of the ordinary. When you go for the exclusive, you get the sort of more finger placement hot areas. I'm not sure. It's a lot more sporty. You get the flat bottom here. If you go for the wood, it's more of a traditional design. The wood, again with the circular sort of theme. Get the nice stitching on there, the wood paneling around the edge. What I do have to say, it does age the truck quite a bit when you go for the wood, but obviously it does match all the other paneling in there. And if you go for the V8, which is my favourite, you get the perforated around the edge, which is very, very nice, and obviously the red stitching to match the rest of the cabin. But yeah, very, very nice. Let's go to, what should we go to? Done the interior paint jobs. Obviously you've got all the standard ones. They all work with it as you would expect, as this is a SES truck. But for now we'll just go for, let's go for this nice red whilst we're configuring. Now starting off down at the bottom, we have got loads of different options that you can see. SES have got inspiration from RJL. I mean, you've got all different styles. You got with the lamps, no lamps, high paint, some lower paint here. I mean, you can see the contrast between the low and then the high. It's quite a bit. I'd say maybe 5 or so centimeters, maybe a bit more, maybe almost 10. So if you're doing a lot of quarry work, that may be quite, well, must be pretty useful. And you also want to go for maybe plastic if you're doing a lot of quarry work, as in real life it would be cheaper to replace. Now another little detail that some people may miss is the lights. Now the standard lights are pretty nice, as you can see. But if you upgrade to the exclusive, you get this larger daytime running light here. A lot more sort of black framing. If you do like the orange indicators, then that may be sort of more up your street. But if you want more modern sort of fascia to the truck, that may be a good option to tick. Now this is where you can do a lot more configuration if you got the Scania DLC. But for me, without it, you can change these ribs, as they're called here. It's kind of a cool name to call them. Chrome, then you got this sort of matte grey. effect. You can also change the grill colour if you got the DLC. You can add or remove the Scania logo, which does look a bit weird without it, to be honest. You can add in some lights. Now this is a bit of a controversial feature, these lights up here. Personally, when it first came out, I didn't like them, but I've sort of grown to like them now. But if you don't, you can obviously remove them for a lot more sleek look. This is where you change the sort of mask, as it's called here, of the truck. You can have it in black or this sort of light grey, all with or without a chrome piece along here, which whether or not you go for this chrome piece up here sort of determines if it's going to fit in or not. And another sort of point to note out is the black on the grill here. As you can see, the mask also matches the plastic, that works really well actually. It's quite a good feature. But if you do want to remove all the plastic, there's this option here where you can add in the sort of lower side steps to paint, and then you can go the wheel arches as well. Then you got the front here, so it all works together nicely. You've also got the painted versions of the lights or plastic, depending on if you're in a budget. But it does look kind of nice, the way that line sort of feeds out along the lights and comes back in if you went for the plastic. Probably best if you went for the black actually. Yeah, that looks really aggressive now. I like that a lot. But up here, again, if you went for the Scania DLC, you'd get some stone guards along here. I've just got the standard sort of handles. You've got the mirrors, nothing special going on there. You can change the colours of the side mirror. Got the flag. Not sure what that is. Oh, I'll get to that later. I got the stock visor. No other visors, interestingly. Obviously, the Scania approved one does fit the best, but it would be nice to see some different ones, I suppose. Now, this is where it confuses me a little bit. If you don't go for the sort of lights up here, it definitely looks like there's something missing. I mean, you just get these sort of embossed placements for the lights here that are just not filled in. So definitely do go for the roof lights. Different sort of framing options as well. But yeah, it just looks a lot better with them. Up at the top, you've got a place for a beacon. No sort of light bars, which confuses me a little bit. But again, I'm sure when we got some mods and sort of upgrades for this truck, you can stick them all on there. Moving down, we can add the side skirts. I mean, just look how many different options they are. Got these sort of chrome pieces, V8 pieces, painted pieces. So if you go for this one here, you can see this exhaust fits in really nicely. But if you were to go for this one, that would be the exhaust for you. So it depends if you want sort of a circular or more rectangular design. Obviously that one looks a little bit more sporty, but if you don't want that, you can just stick that like that and put some lights along the bottom. Or what else we got? Some really sort of out there exhaust tips which are very close to the ground. Around the back, this is where you would be able to change the mud flaps on the DLC. You can paint or put plastic on the rear. We've got the door handle. We've got some little things on the interior, like if you want this background lighting, which you cannot turn off with the light. If you tick it, basically you have to have it, which is, you can sort of see it there actually. And here are the speakers, but yeah, it is quite nice mood lighting. It's just a shame that it doesn't turn off in the day. A little table, or not really table, is it? Sort of placement for items down there. Little raven wings, and then around the back, if you go for the V8 interior, which I'll quickly swap to now, you can have this sort of, I don't know, sort of LED strip along here, which obviously matches all the LED lighting that you got along in here, and it all works really nicely. Otherwise, you can have a Raven emblem back there. The rest of them, you just got cabin accessories and general other items. So now I'm going to build a truck to my spec. Right then, so here we are, all configured up. So I've gone for the start of this sort of driving section. I'm going to take out the 730 V8, which is the top of the range. I've gone for all of the options. I mean, I think it looks really good with the white and black contrast. I've gone for the chrome pieces around the edge, which sort of highlight the badge, and then also around the window frame, and it should look really nice with the white and black. On the interior, I've gone with the sort of V8 style, which when we start the ignition, this is all the red lighting that I was talking about. You've got it in the footwells, around the speakers, in the sort of little cubby hole there, and then also around the back, which is lighting up the bed. I mean, that does look really menacing. Like it a lot. Got some lights up there as well by the cupboards, up at the top by the curtains. I mean, there's lots of little sort of pockets of light which you just keep finding all over the place. But my favourite thing in here has to be the steering wheel. I mean, I just love the fact that Scania flat bottom steering wheel in the truck. I mean, you can see all the sort of perforations around the edge. I mean, all these sort of red highlights. It just looks really nice, and then you get that display up in front of you, which looks super modern. I'll go through it now. So as you can see on the left display, you've got the sort of your speed readout in a digital area, which is really nice. You've also got your trip, which is super useful having that there. On the right display, you've got your time, and then some temperatures and your AdBlue level. And I forgot to mention, you've got your fuel gauge down there in sort of a digital readout, and then you've got your more temperatures down there. I have noticed that it says George's radio, which just doesn't go away. I mean, I don't know where it's getting that from, but it is quite annoying. One thing that I could guess at is maybe it's the radio on here. But again, I don't know, it shouldn't be. I mean, confuses me a bit. But starting off, you got the consumption, which isn't accurate at the moment. Once we get going, that'll go down easily. Pressures, temperatures, I mean, it's all represented really nice colour display. Got your fuel, 600 litre tank, cruise control. That's a really nice display when you're going along. Then you got your range and back to consumption. So yeah, it's really nice. I like the way the sort of dials are, sort of the handles for the dials are invisible, like they're behind the displays. I find that really cool. Indicators up there, you got the hazard button, but yeah, just general things in here. You got the sat nav over there. That's really nicely placed, the sat nav, actually. It's in your vision, it's quite large. You got your parking brake. It's a physical sort of handle, which a lot of people like. Many people don't like the electronic ones. What else you got? You got all your temperatures down there. You got a USB slot down there. You got an auxiliary port with another USB. You got a 12-volt socket down there. I mean, just the detail SCS have gone to. I mean, there isn't a single low texture in here. I mean, just look at it. Even down here, you got all the window controls over here with the light buttons, that they all work. I mean, you've got all these sort of buttons down there. I'm guessing for like dropping the axles. It's amazing. And you got all the buttons on the wheel, like skipping tracks, cruise control at the bottom, hill descent. It's really rather good. You got some more USBs over there, and you can actually see the sort of metal effect on the trim over there, which is quite nice. But yeah, it is amazing in here. What's it say? Always wear safety belt. It's really, really good. But let's get this thing started up. The V8 files into life. I do like these sort of Scania sort of writing back there. You don't get that on the smaller cabin, only on this larger one, which is one thing to note. Really sounds nice, doesn't it? But let's see if we can get a trailer to try out today. What's coming out of here? Maybe like a small delivery. And we'll go and get that. And then we can drop back here. Go and get the V6. Well, I don't actually know if it's a V6 or not. Maybe it's like an inline 6 or something. But a 6-cylinder engine. And see how that handles. So I've gone for the automatic, which is represented here when you're changing sort of the driving modes. Neutral, drive, reverse. I'm not sure how practical that would be in real life, that little sort of fiddly stick on a stalk. Got the indicator stalk over there. Wiper modes. But yeah, loads and loads of detail. So putting it in drive, as I said, I've gone for the 6-speed gearbox, which is an absolute game changer. But yeah, pulling away just fine. You can see that digital speed, which is so good. I really, really do like that. But yeah, one thing to note straight away is just how smooth this thing pulls away. And even though it's a V8, you can barely hear it. And if you didn't notice already, it's already in third. And there was no sort of lurching forward, it holding on to the gear too long. I mean, even when it's sort of slowing down, it skips gears when it's changing down, which is really nice. I mean, just look at it, 30 miles an hour. I do have it in miles an hour, by the way, not kilometers. And it's already just put itself in fourth. But when you put your foot down, in sort of many gearboxes in Euro truck and American truck, especially autos, it just doesn't do anything. But just watch this. My foot is going down now. Foot off, and back into fourth. Instant response, which is what we've been wanting for ages. I mean, if you just watch it. In fact, let me get around this corner. Better not crash this really expensive truck. Let's just get on the auto route or whatever it's called. Autostrada. Is that what it's called in Italy? Autostrada? I'm not too sure. And we'll do sort of a launch. So cool. I mean, 700 horsepower engine this. Right, is anything coming? A few trucks coming. Right, after this car here, we're just going to launch it. Ready? And go. $50 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour. 70. Jeez, it is so rapid, this thing. I mean, obviously it is the top of the range engine, but That is some seriously impressive performance, and the main thing is this gearbox. It is a game changer, as I've said. I mean, just the response right now, foot down, drops down 2 gears, foot off, and it changes back up. Completely ludicrous. I mean, if we slow down to, let's say 50, which is the speed limit in Italy, I mean, you can see how good the fuel consumption is. It'll go down. I was driving the V8 730 in the time lapse on Monday, and I got around, I think it was around 60 at an average. I mean, I was driving quite sort of spiritedly on the sort of mountain passes to just experience the truck a bit and learn a lot more about it for this review. But yeah, even so, it still managed an average of 60, which is the best I've seen for ages. I mean, just look at the way this is coming down. I'll show you the smaller engine in the bit, and that is mad. I've never seen fuel consumption that low in this game. Really impressive. So if you want to start a truck, the new Scania may be a bit more expensive than some of the others, but it's bound to save you some money in the long term. We should be coming up to the pickup now. And let's go and see what this is like with a trailer. Alright, so we're just coming up to the pickup now. So one of the new style pickups in the Italy DLC when it's released. Get these gates are open, which is pretty cool. Right, where's this trailer? It's freight market. And let's go and take it. It's over there, yeah. Do like the daytime running lights on this. You can even see the sort of red back sort of lighting in there. One reverse gear in this transmission, 2 in the other one. But yeah, I did forget to tell you, I did go for the 12 speed in the time lapse I did on Monday, and to be honest, I really do not recommend you go for it. I mean, you may think, well, 6 speed may not be good for like hauling heavy transport. But to be honest, how often do you do that in this game? And the ratios on this are so good. I mean, we're in second already. I bet you didn't even hear it change. But I was just listening to the truck when I was just driving over here, and the down changes, you just get that little bit of V8 grumble, which is really nice. Oh, it's so good. It's so much more realistic and immersive, the gearbox. And I usually go for manuals all the time just because the autos are rubbish, but with this, I think I'm just going for this gearbox all the time. Look at it, 4th gear already, 30 miles an hour. Watch it whilst we slow down. It's like a little gear readout just to the left of the tachometer, where it's got 1 and then A underneath. Sorry, I just knocked the microphone. But yeah, let's do a quick pull here, see how it does. I mean, we've got... Oh, it's only 9 tons, so it's not too heavy, but... I mean, it holds on to the gear right to the end then, as you saw. But there you saw it didn't need to, because it's got all that torque behind it. I mean, it's a really intelligent gearbox, and all the code that's gone into it. But yeah, let's get onto the road here. The retarder is really powerful, I have to say. You can see the sort of designation of it there with that green light. And interestingly, jeez, why is that guy turning into me? When you've got the retarder on, and then you sort of accelerate, the retarder turns itself off. I mean, if I take my foot off the pedal now, the retarder comes on. Foot back on, it goes off. I mean, how useful is that? It means you can never sort of forget to turn it off, and then you're burning loads of fuel because you need more momentum to get you going. I mean, that is so cool. And it stays in the on position until you take your foot off the accelerator. Just a detail that goes into it. I think I'm speeding. Yeah, I'm speeding. You do that a lot in this V8. Let's put it on cruise control. You can see when cruise control's on, when that, it's kind of hard to see, but it's got that sort of greyed out car with the speedo next to it. When you turn the cruise on, let me just try and get it up to 50. It goes I'm all over the place. It goes white. See, we've already burnt quite a bit of fuel with the sort of LED readout below there. But yeah, even so, it's a V8. It's super quiet. I mean, we're in 5th gear. I mean, if we sort of speed up and get in 6th, so one thing that does confuse me with this gearbox, it stops in 5th quite a lot when you're cruising at 50. I wish it changed into 6th. But yeah, look at this. Super quiet. We're doing 1200 RPM. And the fuel consumption is going down straight away. Really, really good. It's weirdly quiet though, I have to say. But it looks like we're turning off here now. And turning in. So yeah, once we've had a look at this V8 and parked it up, I'm going to swap it over to the 6-cylinder and take that out. Then at the end I'll quickly show you what it's like with the 12-speed and just how much of an improvement this is. So yeah, let's get over to the drop-off. Into here. Right, there is a little gate. Just be careful of that. And then we are dropping off down there. Okay. Gives us a chance to look at the mirror quality, I guess. You do get quite a lot of space around the mirrors, as you can see. And the mirrors themselves are quite big, but quite thin, which is fairly useful. Still not as thin as like a Volvo or anything. But you do get quite good visibility. No idea if I've turned early enough. Just gotta watch that trailer. No, hang on. Just pull forward a bit. It's quite a tight spot this with this here in front of you. I'm just using that mirror now. Let's pull over here. Yeah, I've not done this that great. But yeah, it's so responsive when manoeuvring. It's quite sensitive, the sort of power delivery, even with this sort of gearbox. Probably because it's got a 700 horsepower V8, but we'll see what the smaller engine's like in a minute. There we go. So now let's swap over to the 6-cylinder. And then here we are with the S450, as you can see. So the 6-cylinder engine. Personally, I really do like the idea of this. The sort of more economical engine. In my opinion, I think it sounds just as good as the V8. Definitely at the sort of high RPMs. And yeah, you can't really tell a difference when you spec them the same like this. I've removed the sort of V8 logos from down the side. Obviously you don't get the V8 logo on the front. I've changed the grille to that sort of lighter grey, and I've removed the chrome bits and from around the windows as well. But other than that, you can't really tell the difference. On the interior, I think I kept with the red lighting, but as you can see, the sort of dash is a bit different, and you don't get the display on here, which is a bit annoying really. I wish it sort of came up with something on that display, maybe like a media menu or radio or something, but you do get the smaller info display in the middle, which doesn't look as good, but it's easier to read from a distance. I'll show you what you mean. Obviously you got your temperatures. Cruise control is much easier to read from a distance, so if you got a lower spec PC, that would be really useful. Your range is much easier to read. You got your consumption, that'll go down quite a lot, as you'll see, but you've still got all your trip readouts over there, and then you got all the time over there. You don't have the digital readout of the speed, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest. You'll just have to use the analog one. But yeah, that's probably the most annoying feature with this cabin. Obviously you get the different wheel, a lot more comfortable wheel, I suppose. A bit less sporty. You get the colour Scania logo in the middle, which some people may prefer over the black and white one. You don't get the chrome pieces, those silver bits there. And all in all, that's pretty much it. You get the different seats as well, the more basic looking seats with the fabric, that green fabric. One thing that I did forget to remove was that. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the same in here. I went with the dark interior, so you get all the dark panels down there. And that's pretty much it. So if we go on the exterior, I get this thing started up. You can hear that the audio is so high res. Well, high definition, I should say. Definitely sounds aggressive. It's got that sort of bark at the top end, which you do hear when you're changing gear, which is really nice. But if we put it into gear, as you can see, it's the same sort of mechanism on the stalk there, and we can get going. Once again, I've gone with the more improved auto gearbox. So let's get out of here. Let's take a left. So the 450 over the 730, around 300 less horsepower. And this trailer is 17 tons, so it's 8 tons heavier. So obviously it's going to feel a little bit slower for me. But it just feels a lot more, as I said, comfortable on the road, and a lot more refined. And a lot more smooth as well. Like the gear changes just seem to be a lot more relaxed in a way, even though it's the same gearbox. Overall, I do feel like it suits the truck a little bit better. I mean, changing down here. And when we put our foot down, it'll still go. I mean, just look at this. Changes down. Got a bit confused then, but you hear that sort of bark on the upshift. It's really nice. You can definitely tell it's holding on for the gears a little bit longer in this lower powered engine, just because it doesn't have the torque of that V8. But when you're up and going, it's completely fine. I'd definitely say this gearbox is a lot more important to have with the sort of lower powered engines. But yeah, just the contrast. When you rev this engine, it sounds very aggressive, but when you just get off the power and just coast, it's almost silent. I mean, when I was just driving it over here from the truck dealer, when I configured it, I forgot the engine was running, and when I went to start it back up, I actually accidentally turned it off. It just shows you how quiet this thing is. But yeah, look at the speed of this, 40 kilometers an hour already. Holds on for the gear, 30 miles an hour. I mean, this is uphill with a trailer. It just holds on for that gear. Yeah, perfect amount of power, to be honest. A lot of people do go for this engine in real life, the 450. It's all that most people need, to be honest. It's really economical. And it's really smooth. Right. Let's get onto the main road. Do a quick acceleration. Oh, it's this truck here. Hang on. Is the car gonna let us out? Yeah, 60 kilometers an hour. I mean, it's so silent. I mean, you can just hear that change. And then we're just coming up to 80 now. 80. So yeah, still plenty of power this. And it drops it down into 6th gear. So let's put the cruise on. Let's slow down to 80 actually. But yeah, with this engine, we're just under 1200 RPM. At 80, 6th gear, and it's almost silent. I mean, outside, you can barely hear it when you compare it to the V8. I mean, the V8 was quiet, this is even quieter. But on to some things that I don't like about this truck. I do think that there are too many buttons in this cabin. I mean, if you just have a look at it there, just so many, and it just looks so cluttered, especially when you compare it to like a Volvo FH or something. And talking about the FH, I do prefer the interior cabin design of the FH. It's a lot more open plan and clean with that sort of creamish top, where this is a lot more form. I mean, function over form, whereas the Volvo is form over function, I suppose. But yeah, it's still very nice in here. It's quite angular, very sort of modern. But yeah, I would prefer to see a little bit less buttons in here. Other than that, something else I don't like. That's pretty much it, really. I don't really dislike anything else. I like the detail that SCS have put into this, especially with all the different cabin options and interior options. That's really nice. Obviously I wish there was more configuration, and the engines both sound really nice, and this gearbox is a complete game changer. So overall, if you haven't driven this truck yet, what have you been doing? Get onto the open beta and get driving, because it's really, really impressive. I mean, you can see this now. We're doing what, 30 litres every 100 mile, and that's what I got it down to earlier on the average. That is just under 30, which is mightily impressive. Let's use the retarder down here. It's quite quiet actually, the retarder. We're just dropping off up here by the looks of it. I mean, instant drop down of those 2 gears. But I am considering going for a 6-cylinder engine for when I do a few videos around Italy when the DLC comes out. Because originally I was thinking of going for the S730, just for all the power and everything. But now I probably won't go for a 450. I'll probably go for maybe, I believe it's a 500. They do a 6-cylinder in. I think that'll be probably the better engine to go for, especially in this game. But yeah, it's really, really impressive, this engine. Definitely give it a go. Don't just click the V8 because it's the most powerful. Have a go in this because it's really rather good, and plus it's cheaper. Alright, we're dropping off in here. I don't want to do another blind side. Let's try and do a loop. Like that, there we go. I mean, just listen to it here. You can hardly hear the engine. Oh, let's just pull forward a little bit. There we go. And I like the way the logo fades away like that. It's really rather cool. Lights off. And let's get rid of this trailer. But before we go, I'm going to quickly show you the 12 speed in this and the difference. Okay then, so I've quickly swapped out to a 500 horsepower truck. I've got the 12 speed in here, so starting off, you can see it starts off in third, rather than the other one starting off in first. So let's get going. Take the brake off. Straight away, when just pulling away, you don't really tell any difference. It's more about the gear change. You can just tell how much longer it takes. Look at it. I mean, I don't know if the other one is a sort of dual clutch or anything, but if we just get straight here so you can see, it's at least a second, the gear change, whereas the other one is instant. And you can really tell when it's down changing as well, whereas the other one you just can't. Like pulling away, it's like, come on, let's get going. And it doesn't rev as high as the other one either. I mean, if you have a look, it changes at 2000. Whereas the other one went right up to the red line. I mean, just look at it changing down. Makes a lot of fuss about it. It's like, come on, let's get going. And I just don't think the ratios work that well. I mean, if we just do a quick U-turn here. But yeah, it's like really annoying, so definitely go for that 6 speeds. It's just so much better. I mean, it just takes ages to keep getting through all the gears, because it's got so many to get through. But yeah, let's pull back up here and finish off the video. It handles really well, this truck. I mean, it's hardly any body roll. It's quite easy to place it on the road as well. You get great visibility from these huge windows. But yeah, let's park up next to the old shape. So there we go. If you have enjoyed that, please do give me a like, subscribe for more, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.